it's about what you think it's about, okay? The lyrics go like this. Well, I don't care if you're just 13. You look too good to be true. I just know that you're probably clean. That's one thing that I got to do. There's leaving nothing to the imagination there. I don't care if you're just 13. It's a wonder the cops didn't knock on his door. I know Nugent is a big Second Amendment guy, but holy mackerel. Jailbait. Bumping it up a few years is Kiss and their song Christine 16, okay? The album was called Love Gun. It was full of songs with double entendres and not so double entendres. But Christine 16, here's the lyrics. I usually don't say things like this to girls your age, but when I saw you coming out of school that day I knew Christine 16, I've got to have you. Now, how old was Gene Simmons when he sang this song? 40? That's just creepy. And how many times have you caught yourself singing? One says Christine, one says 16. That's what it's about, folks. Let's go back to the Rolling Stones. Rolling Stones had a song called Stray Cat Blues. Now, Mick Jagger says this song was inspired by the Velvet Underground's song called Heroin, and says it's nothing more than that. But let me read some lyrics, and you tell me what you think about this song, Stray Cat Blues. Here's how some of the lyrics go. There'll be a feast if you just, let me start over. There'll be a feast if you just come upstairs. I can see that you're 15 years old. No, I don't want your ID. You look so restless. You look so far from home. I don't know how they get heroin out of that. It smells like sex to me. The Rolling Stones, Stray Cat Blues. Let's go back to Neil Diamond. And this is a song, in fact, this is a song that when the Boston Red Sox won the World Series, everybody sang the song. Sweet Caroline. Okay, yeah, it's a nice song. Ba, ba, ba. And Neil Diamond has always admitted that he wrote the song as a homage to Caroline Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's daughter, okay? But what he said inspired the song was a photo that he saw of an 11-year-old Caroline Kennedy on a horse with her parents, okay? And that inspired the tune. So he thought of the song Sweet Caroline while he was looking at an 11-year-old girl. And here's some of the lyrics. Hands, touching hands, reaching out, touching me, touching you, Sweet Caroline. Maybe there's something there, and maybe there's not. But just think about that, you Boston Red Sox fans, the next time you sing Sweet Caroline. Think about it. Rod Stewart, big hit for Rod Stewart in the 70s? I think it was in the 70s. Tonight's the Night. Okay, now everybody knows what that song's about. But in fact, Stewart is one rocker that enunciates his words very well. So you can understand what he was saying. He didn't put the accent in strange places. He didn't slur his words. And even though is he Scottish, I think? There was no doubt as to what he was saying in his lyrics. And basically it's basically about him trying to talk a girl out of her virginity. Okay. You'd be a fool to stop this tide. Spread your wings and let me come inside. Don't say a word, my virgin child. Just let your inhibitions run wild. There's no interpreting that any way but one, especially spread your wings and let me come inside. How many folks have sung that? That song was on the radio. When I first heard that song, I kind of scratched my head and said, wow, they're letting this on the radio? Okay. Going back to the Rolling Stones, Mick and the boys, they're on the list several times. Brown Sugar. Now, the Rolling Stones were no stranger to provocative songs, but I always thought that Brown Sugar was just, here's a good-looking black gal. Not really. The song, they wrote the song about a slave owner engaging in sex with a young slave girl. That's what it was about. And again, the guys who wrote the song said this. This isn't me saying this. That's what it's about. Brown sugar, how come you taste so good? Brown sugar like a young girl should. How old is young? It's a slave owner. He can do what he wants, right? Again, that's another song. I don't think they could even do that song today with the whole Me Too movement. Motorhead, Lemmy and the Boys have a song called Jailbait. Different from the Ted Nugent song. Yeah. More than one group had a song called Jailbait. In fact, this one's no less pervy than Ted Nugent's, though. Basically, I'll read the lyrics to you. This is for real, okay? Still tied to mama's apron strings. Don't even dare to ask your age. Just enough to know you're here backstage. You're jailbait, and I just can't wait. Leaving nothing to the imagination. Basically saying you're underage, and here we go. Another song, actually, a group called Winger, not a real popular group, but they had a song called 17. And maybe they bumped it up a little bit. Maybe it used to be called 16 or 15 or 14 or 13, but maybe just to stay legal, at least close to legal, they decided to call the song 17. Okay, Winger, a big hair band. She's only 17. Daddy says she's too young, but she's old enough for me. I guess in some states 17 is legal. Remember Bad Company? Can't get enough. In fact, Bad Company, again, they were towing the fine line between persistence and refusing to take no for an answer. In this Me Too era, I don't know if this song would have ever flown. The lyrics, something like this. Well, I take whatever I want, and baby, I want you. I guess that's a double entendre. Maybe, want is, maybe it's just desire. Maybe it's hope. Maybe it's fantasy. Maybe it's something more than that. But I thought that was another interesting one. Led Zeppelin. Gotta have those guys in there. The song's protagonist lyrics, they're both about an old horny black dog and a man lusting for a woman. In fact, they kind of, is it about a dog or is it about a man? It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And basically, most Led Zeppelin lyrics, there's so many ah-ha-ha's in there that it's hard to understand the lyrics. But basically, they're talking about just burning and honey dripping and all kinds of other stuff. They never really put a sentence together. But Led Zeppelin's Black Dog, there's definitely something there. The Beatles never really had one, but Ringo Starr did. It was a big hit for Ringo Starr. Remember this song? In fact, I remember this. And it was popular with teenagers, and it seemed like just an innocent song. But you got to remember, Ringo Starr was in his 30s when he was singing this song. You're 16. You're all ribbons and curls. Ooh, what a girl. Eyes that sparkle and shine. You're 16. You're beautiful, and you're mine. Almost sounds like a throwback song from the gay 90s, doesn't it? Kind of something they'd sing in Easter Parade or Meet Me in St. Louis. You're all ribbons and curls. Ooh, what a girl. Eyes that sparkle and shine. You're 16, beautiful, and mine. Being sung by a man in his 30s. Roman Polanski indeed. One of my favorite guys, one of my favorite artists of all time, Alice Cooper. Alice Cooper had a big hit called $1 Billion Babies. And if you've ever seen it performed live in concert, I have. It's it's bizarre. Now, Alice Cooper, in my opinion, he gets a pass. Maybe because I'm a big fan, but he gets a pass because Alice Cooper's shtick always has been, and he was one of the original shock rockers, okay? I will play with a snake on stage. I will get my head cut off by a guillotine, okay? The $1 Billion Babies surrounded by bloody dolls, okay? But Cooper once said that the concept behind this whole album that the song came from was just exploiting ideas that all people have sick perversions, and he played to that, okay? Some of the lyrics to Alice Cooper's $1 Billion Babies. We go dancing nightly in the attic while the moon is rising in the sky. I'm too rough. Tell me I'm so scared. Your little head will come off in my hands. Rape, torture, just being weird? You be the judge. The British Bob Dylan, Donovan, had a song called Mellow Yellow. Remember that song? Mellow Yellow. Yeah, it was long before the soft drink, the Mountain Dew ripoff. Mellow Yellow is not an ode to a soft drink. In fact, when Donovan wrote the song in 1966, he was 20 years old, but way too old to be chasing 8th grade girls. Mellow Yellow has a lyric that says, I'm just mad about 14, and 14's mad about me. 14. I don't think that's even legal in Arkansas, okay? And Donovan was a young man, but 20, 14, he wrote a song about this? That was in 1966. Speaking of young girls, Gary Puckett, used to be from Gary Puckett and the Union Gap. I don't know if this is a Union Gap song or just a Gary Puckett song, but Gary wrote this song called Young Girl. And somehow this song failed to raise the eyebrows of parents back in 1968. And that was still, 68 was a huge year for change, with the King assassination and the Kennedy assassination, or the Kennedy assassination, Robert Kennedy. But at least he does want the girl to get away. He's not necessarily wanting to catch her. He's warning her of his perversion. Young girl, get out of my mind. My love for you is way out of line. You better run, girl. You're much too young, girl. So at least he understands he's wrong. You better run because you're much too young. So hurry up before I catch you. It's a wonder that people didn't raise an eyebrow in 1968 when that song was put out there. Let's go back to Kiss. Kiss had a song called Going Blind. And this was in 1974. And they kind of hinted between relationships between really young girls and older men in this song. A song called Going Blind it's lyrical, something like this. Little lady, can't you see? You're so young and so much different. I'm 73. You're 16. Can't you see I'm going blind? 16 and 70 or 93. I said 73. It's 93. That's quite an age difference. In fact, that song, in my opinion, is actually so bizarre that it can't be taken seriously. A 93-year-old running after a 16-year-old in a Kiss song. That may be kind of in the whole genre of Alice Cooper. Just too bizarre. So bizarre that it jumps the shark. Okay? Maybe I'm right. Maybe I'm wrong. The last song I'm going to talk about is one that I always thought was very edgy, very out there, very taboo. And it's a Stevie Nicks song, The Edge of 17. But this song is not what you think in another way. The Edge of 17. If you listen to that song, it talks about doing this, doing that, and right on the